Lil Nas X is one of the most controversial figures we done seen in music for a while. Cause I mean, anytime he spoke about, anytime his name in the news, it's about something crazy. It's about some type of controversy. I mean, we had Lil Nas X drop shoes with real blood on it, calling them Satan shoes. He was twerking on Satan. We done seen him pull so many insane antics over time, and I don't think it's working anymore. I don't think these antics is translating to music sales. See, now Lil Nas X, this a man that everybody knows whether you like him or not, but he had a run that was basically impossible to recreate. See, this man blew up in 2019. He had a song, #1, for 19 weeks, something that never happens. This is like once every 30 years type shit. We never see nothing happen like that off the bat. Lil Nas X was a different character. He came in with a song this big. So off the bat, Lil Nas X was different. He had this song come out of nowhere that took over the world and people were interested. People were kind of invested for a little bit. But this song came with problems. He dropped this song and it was like a blend of country and hip hop, but the charts didn't really want to acknowledge it as this country song. And it sparked up this whole controversy where people were looking like, are y'all saying it's not a country song because this a black man, or do y'all have a legitimate reason behind this? It was a lot of that going on. And I mean, the situation was so big, articles getting wrote on it, news people reporting on it. It was a big thing. XXL wrote this. Columbia Records, Lil Nas X Old Town Road recently made Billboard history by appearing on 3 of their charts at the same time. But now, an insider for Billboard claims that the rapper's placement on one of the charts was a mistake. According to a Rolling Stone report published on Tuesday, a Billboard insider explains that Lil Nas X's song was removed from the hot country songs list because the song, quote unquote, does not embrace enough elements of today's country music to chart in its current version. Upon further review, it's determined that Old Town Road just didn't meet the Billboard qualification. And like I said, this caused a lot of backlash. People was like, he made this country song, the imagery there, like all of this going on. It kind of paved the way for Shabuzi, for example. You know, he kind of this mix of hip hop and country, but he didn't have to go through a lot of this. He didn't go through some of the weird stuff that Lil Nas X was going through. But this problem was so big that Billy Ray Cyrus, this huge country artist, Miley Cyrus' dad, ended up getting on a remix with him. And so, even though he had that little bit of controversy, he got past it and it was looking like Lil Nas X's career was gonna be right. It was looking like he had something there on the table. And so now, Lil Nas X had this big song in front of him. He had a potential career. At the height of all of this, at the height of all this attention, he would come out coming out. I mean, the man was like, yo, I'm gay. And this was in 2019. So it wasn't really career ruining or anything. People eyeballed it. People had their speculations. People felt how they felt about the situation. But at the end of the day, that shit don't got nothing to do with nobody. He said what he said. He came out. And that was that. But the world ain't know what was in store over these next few years. But what about the actual music? See, Nas blew up. He blew off this smash song, but was facing a problem that's kind of hard to avoid. Can he follow up this big ass song? Can he follow up one of the biggest songs of all time? And that was a really hard question that Lil Nas X was facing at the time, because normally we have an artist drop a smash hit. They probably got a catalog before that. They got albums and albums before this smash hit. But Lil Nas X ain't have this. All he had was Old Town Road. People go look at this Apple Music, they like, nigga, all he got is Old Town Road. What's going on? And so he was facing a problem. They was like, is he gonna follow this up? Is he gonna feed the streets? Is he gonna give us a body of work that we might enjoy? He actually did drop. He didn't take a 2-3 year break after having this smash hit, Roddy Ricch, but he would drop this EP called 7 in June 2019. It sold 77,000 copies first week.
I guess even though Nas X didn't present anything entirely new on this project, I did come away liking a majority of the songs and was pretty impressed by his versatility. So I would say in the end, I liked this thing. It's pretty cool. It's not mind-blowing, but pretty much everything on this project shows an incredible amount of promise. Hopefully now that Lil Nas X has shown he can do more than a couple things and write more than a couple songs, he will just kind of move on to the next phase of his career and do bigger and do better things.
Now he would drop this and wouldn't immediately follow it up. 2019, he broke out the man everywhere. He was dropping music, and over these next few years, he would keep teasing, but problems would come up with his career. Hate will really start to come his way. Fast forward to the end of 2019, this man will get nominated for a Grammy, not for Old Town Road, but for the EP that he dropped. And that came with mixed opinions. This is what XXL wrote. While Lil Nas X's project was a commercially successful one, it also earned some positive reviews from critics. The confusion around his selection for the nomination is understandable. After all, this project was never marketed as an album in the first place. And so people was looking like, why is this album nominated for a Grammy, this EP nominated for a Grammy? Then people started to question the actual quality of the music. And it was a real big conversation on the internet at that time. People was like, why did y'all nominate him for this Grammy? And why didn't he get nominated for this Grammy for Old Town Road? Like, you know what I mean? It was a lot of stuff like that going on. But 2020 came along and it would be filled with Lil Nas X doing the same thing. He just building up this brand, you know. He couldn't really tour anything because can't say it on YouTube, but y'all know what was going on during 2020. But also this year, he wouldn't release no big project, but he would be in controversy. A lot of controversy. I don't know what the hell he had going on, but right at the end of the year in 2020, Nas would get into it with Dave East. He felt like Dave was being a little homophobic because Lil Nas X, or it was a picture of Lil Nas X dressed up as Nicki Minaj going all over the internet. On Sunday, November 1st, Dave East used a homophobic slur in Jamaican, referring to Lil Nas X after East shared a screenshot of a blog post of Lil Nas X dressed as Nicki Minaj. And so Dave said something. Now people on Twitter, people on the internet starting to come at him. Lil Nas X was getting dragged into controversy. But past that controversy, he would spark everything up. I think after he caused a little bit of controversy, he seen, okay, this brings me attention. This attention, I'm gonna turn it into fans for the music. And so 2021, he would cause problems. I mean, this man was causing infinite problems. We would see 6ix9ine and Lil Nas X get into it. Around this time, 6ix9ine would troll a little bit. Then Lil Nas X would see 6ix9ine trolling, turn around, make a TikTok trolling the troller 6ix9ine with some fake DMs between the two. It was some DMs, basically 6ix9ine shooting this shot. Lil Nas X was trolling, 6ix9ine would get mad. He was like, man, don't even play with me like that. And he would drop his own response.
Before this even start, we're gonna nip this shit in the... This is my gram right here. 6ix9ine, this is my account. Let's go, hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Look.
But Lil Nas X and 6ix9ine beef will be the least of his problem. Like I said, we can call Lil Nas X a professional clout chaser because he was starting to make some insane moves in 2021. We would see Lil Nas X do something real questionable. He would release some Satan shoes. I mean, pentagrams all over the shoes. The shoes look crazy. They Satan aesthetic. But not only that, they would get online. Oh yeah, this got blood in them. So it was some weird ass marketing tool for a music video that dropped at the same time where this nigga was throwing ass on the devil. The music video was crazy, the shoes was crazy, the whole situation was crazy, and it went overly viral. I mean, your grandparents was probably mad at this video. I remember back 2021, my whole family just kept going on and on about the video. So he was making some insane moves during 2021, but there was a problem. Not only would these shoes come out and cause all these problems, but these shoes were based on Air Max 97s. And it wasn't really based. They took the shoe, customized it, put it out under Lil Nas X brand. And it still had the Nike logo on it. But Nas and his company ain't get permission to use these shoes. And Nike wasn't gonna let this slide because they was right on timing with them. According to the dots obtained by TMZ, Nike claims that the company was tricking customers into thinking it got approved, thinking Nike approved this Satan-themed shoes. But Nike say they didn't authorize this and they was no way connected to this project. Nike claims the company buys the shoes from Nike, then works with artists to make their own creative modifications before selling them at a higher price. Nike suing for trademark infringement because the famous Swiss logo is still prominently featured on the shoe. Nike wants damages, and more importantly, for Lil Nas X, Nike wants the judge to block all sales of the Satan shoe. These shoes was going for a right. I mean, it was crazy. And a few weeks later, after all the controversy, after all the headlines, Nike would settle the lawsuit. But Lil Nas X didn't really let this opportunity go to waste. He kind of used this to kickstart his rollout to his first major album. Remember, 2019, we got an EP. 2021, we getting the album. The rollout would start with Lil Nas X basically being pregnant. He posting these pictures online, he got a stomach. I remember at the time, my sister like 9, 10, she talking about, how was he pregnant? That was the nigga whole rollout. He was pregnant, the baby was the album. And this album was a 15-song project called Montero that sold 126K first week. And for the most part, the narrative around this album wasn't bad. People enjoyed it. Some didn't, like with every album, but it wasn't overwhelmingly negative.
Boy, I love that last song. And there's a couple of them in there that I really like. Overall, just shout out to Lil Nas X and what he doing and pushing the boundary and all that stuff. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when the story is told, I guarantee you everybody who was like going against Lil Nas X is going to be looking crazy in the Lil Nas X movie and documentary, I promise you. Go back and look at Madonna when she first came out. I swear for God, y'all niggas be y'all can't wait to turn into your parents. I swear for God.
And even though this album wasn't terribly received, Lil Nas X was still saying he felt the lack of respect in hip hop. And he did an interview really focusing in on this point. He would say this: honestly, I don't feel as respected in hip hop or many music places in general, but these are communities that I'm a part of, whether people would like it or not. This is something that I wanted to do because not my entire album is rap. There are rap tracks on my album. I'm a rapper, I'm a pop star, I'm a gay artist, but it's like I belong in these places. And so we had Lil Nas X feeling a lack of respect. Then to really add on to that, we have Boosie Badass. And if you know anything about Boosie, you know how he feel about gay people and Lil Nas X and really anything that go against what he like. Boosie would come in and start going crazy on Lil Nas X. And I mean, it was bad, so bad that I can't read these tweets. If I read what Boosie said in these tweets, Twitter gonna get me. But just know all of this started because Lil Nas X was like, y'all, you know, I got a Boosie feature on my new project, basically trolling Boosie because he knew it was gonna get attention. He knew Boosie was gonna react real explosively, and that's exactly what happened.
I've been working on this song with Lil Boosie, bro. I had this song with Lil Boosie finna come out. Fire, ain't even lie, Fred. Goddamn, song with Lil Boosie finna come out.
Boosie got online, called that man all type of F-bombs, saying he need to end it, he need to self-end. And I mean, Boosie was talking so crazy to Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X's dad would come online responding to Boosie. Lil Nas X's dad would say, how the hell you a gangster rapper promoting drugs, gun, violence, degrading women, and getting hot every video talking about you for the kids? Man, sit your old ass down. The game looking past you. We real bankhead over here, not like the guy who claims it. Boosie then would respond saying, don't get mad at me because your son came out like that. I know it hurts. And so Boosie being Boosie, he stood on what he said. And I'm surprised cancel culture didn't get him. But it is Boosie. I don't think niggas can cancel Boosie. But Boosie kept going on. He kept really digging his feet into this point. He was like, man, I'm making a difference. That's how Boosie was looking at it. Boosie would get online and say this: I was out getting groceries. 8 different people came up to me and told me, man, you got the voice I don't got. He said 8 different people told him that. And so Boosie was feeling validated in what he was saying online, which is kind of crazy because that nigga was talking crazy. It wasn't like him saying, oh yeah, Lil Nas X music trash. He told this man to die. And so Nas had all of this craziness going on. And then in the middle of it all, he just took a break. For a long time, the world wouldn't hear from him. He wasn't trolling. He wasn't dropping songs. He was just going into the end of 2023, where Lil Nas X would do something that honestly wasn't a surprise to nobody. He would come back and cause controversy. And it wasn't like he did something overly gay or he said something crazy or he made Satan Shoes 2.0. But this time, this nigga would kind of mock Christianity. He would come out saying that, oh yeah, I'm in this Christian era. I'm in a new era, but this time, it's Christian. XXL wrote this. On Thursday, November 30th, Lil Nas X posted a preview of a new song on X, formerly known as Twitter, where he touches on Christian themes, praising the Holy Father. But Nas wouldn't just post this song and that was the end of it. This nigga would start talking crazy. He said, making Christian music does not mean I can't suck no more. The two are not mutually exclusive. I'm allowed to get on my knees for multiple pause. But that's the kind of time he was on. He was trolling, even though he tried to play it off like he wasn't. But that wasn't all that he said, though. He would also say, y'all see everything as a gimmick, when in reality, I'm just an artist expressing myself in different ways. Whether I'm a cowboy, gay, satanic, or now Christian, y'all find a problem. Y'all don't police nobody else's art like mine. And I mean, I get that until you look into times where other artists were trying to play into that Christianity thing. The Baby, for example, he did that, and I vividly remember this nigga getting not the same amount of backlash as Lil Nas X, but the Baby was getting a good bit of backlash. Netspin, new artist, this white kid that be rapping, he got some backlash for doing the same thing, but the backlash was there. Everybody was kind of giving thoughts and really going against Lil Nas X at this time.
No! Oh my that! Yo, Lil Nas X, you could eat my whole... I hate that bro. Nah, that shit just popped up in my head, bro. That nigga, bro. Nah, word of my mother, bro. God gonna handle you in the right way. I didn't even talk about that yet, bro. But look, God gonna handle you, bro. And you're, bro.
What he did?
No, bro.
What he did?
No, bro.
Hey, yo.
He disrespect God himself. That's
Christianity,
crazy.
like Christianity.
Yes, he disrespect the whole culture.
He was
bro.
mocking.
But Nas would still get online defending everything that he was doing, basically saying, look, I'm not making fun of Christianity or nothing like that. He would say that the crazy thing is nowhere in the picture is a mockery of Jesus. Jesus' image is used throughout history and people's arts all over the world. I'm not making fun of nothing. Y'all gotta stop trying to gatekeep a religion that was here before any of us were even born. But throughout time, this man wouldn't drop music, even past the Christianity controversy, some of the other problems he was in. He hasn't dropped an album in the past 4 years. The last time he dropped was 2021. That was the last full project we got from him. Then on top of that, he hasn't had any big moments musically since this album, because being in the news, being in controversy does not equal music sales or musical success. And I think we're kind of seeing this happen, because when people talk about Lil Nas X, you don't never hear people saying, oh man, that nigga just dropped a good ass song. Nope, you hear people talk about Lil Nas X because he in the news, because he trolling, because he rage baiting, because he being a gimmick rapper. Then on top of that, him pulling 4 years with no music is crazy, especially with the state that his career was in. He was established, but not established enough just to not drop music for years. Something is telling me that he about to fall into that trap that Polo G fell into. If you remember, if you watched the video I made on him last month, this man had a #1 song, right? He had an album, it sold 140K first week. People was thinking, oh yeah, Polo G about to be rap's next superstar, until he left for years. He didn't drop an album for years and years. Then he comes back, follows up an album that sold 140K first week with a project that did 24K first week. And I wouldn't be surprised if Lil Nas X's career went the same way, especially with how he been treating his career. But I do think a rollout starts soon though, because back in March, even though we haven't gotten a full project, a full album, he would drop an EP called Days Before Dreamboy, which I guess is his next major project. But this EP came out, 8 songs on it. And it didn't really make a lot of noise. I'm really tapped in with the media. I'm really tapped in with hip hop online, and I had no idea that this EP even came out until I started making this video. Then on top of that, you can't even find the first week sales for this album. And normally when you can't find the album first week sales, that means one thing: it underperformed bad, and they don't want people to know. And it's kind of exactly the same thing that happened with Nardo Wick. He went years with no project just for him. This year he comes out, drops a major project, features from everybody, but you can't find them first week sales no matter how hard you look, no matter how hard you dig, you not finding that. Who knows what's next for Lil Nas X, but it ain't looking too good. Maybe he pulls out a hit song and it's everywhere. Maybe he does something, he viral on TikTok, his album do decent. But right now, it ain't looking too hot. What are y'all thoughts on Lil Nas X? You think he about to flop? You think he about to drop something crazy? Let me know in the comments.